Most people start the new year with resolutions that on some level they know they won't keep. Personally, I stopped making them a long time ago. Today, I want to talk about why resolutions rarely work, especially for creative people, and what I'm doing instead as I move into the new year. Hi, I'm Diane Hatz, and welcome to A Writer's Life. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it. If you're feeling tired, unmotivated, or overwhelmed heading into January, you're not alone. I think many of us have reached the point where resolutions don't inspire us. They can just put too much pressure on us. So, in this episode, I want to offer a calmer, more grounded way to begin the new year, one that has more to do with clarity and self respect than with forcing yourself into a list of demands on January 1st. Years ago, when I realized I wasn't keeping the resolutions I'd made and I was tired of beating myself up and berating myself for being weak, I saw that I was keeping myself in a cycle of shame and self-judgment. I'd set a few goals and I'd break most of them in a few weeks. I was always going to lose that 20, 30, 40, or like during my menopause, perimenopause nightmare, 60 pounds. I was going to work out 4 days a week at the gym, stop eating cakes and cookies, dress better, get a job I wanted, earn more money, love myself. I could go on, but I think you know what I'm talking about. I mean, there were years where I'd have all of those as my resolutions. When I realized I couldn't keep my promises, I'd get depressed and tell myself I would start the next week. But next week came around and I wasn't able to. And so I just eventually gave up trying. And frankly, I would just beat myself up. I even think some years I'd be so down that I'd end up binging and putting on more weight. And losing weight was on my list of resolutions every year that I did them. I am from the era where just body image, just just no matter how much weight you lost, you were never good enough. So it was this constant back and forth between who I thought I should be because someone or society or Madison Avenue thought I should be that way, but it wasn't realistic. So even now, at age 64, I still obsess over my weight and I keep saying I'm going to lose those 30 pounds. And don't get me wrong, I really want to, but beating myself up and criticizing myself is not going to make it happen. It can have the opposite effect. And for me, that's what a resolution ends up being, just a whip that just beats me into the ground. So at some point, I stopped. I realized making resolutions was worse than not making any at all. And I felt it more important to find things throughout the year that aligned with my life, my creative work, and my energy. Well, and that aligned with reality. Let's talk about what beginning the year without resolutions look like for me and for possibly you, and how you can approach January in a way that respects your rhythm instead of what society or our culture tries to tell us that we have to do. So a few things that you might do. First, celebrate what you've accomplished over the past year. At a very minimum, the fact that you're here is an accomplishment, so celebrate it. For me, I published my third book. I started a group here in Santa Fe called Women Writers in the Wild, which might actually be going on hiatus, which, is evolution, iteration. But I started this YouTube podcast, which has gone through a million iterations. I've made huge strides in my healing. I find myself so much happier than I was 2 years ago. So I have a lot to celebrate. And don't get me wrong, when I'm saying things are changing with like the podcast and the women writers thing, it's a good thing. It means that I'm moving forward. So secondly, how about trying to develop a life plan for the year? Looking back at what I've been able to do helps me look ahead to what I'd like to accomplish. This is not setting resolutions. Resolutions are hard and fast decisions that you make, like I will achieve this or I will achieve that. It doesn't leave room for adapting or simply life taking you in the direction that it wants to take you in. So for example, my plan next year is to publish my fourth book. Develop and implement a marketing plan for promoting my entire book series, continue eating well and exercising and going to the gym. I just joined one in the last month. And I want to become more consistent on Substack. With this YouTube show, my plan is to continue with one video a week and to define and refine my focus so that I'll reach people like you who might be interested in what I'm sharing. On a personal level, I plan to continue my healing journey, and by spring, I'm going to start making more of an effort to get out and socialize more. So by putting my intentions and plans down in writing, I'm over 40% more likely to achieve them. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true. So write down what you want to do, just a bullet point list, a checklist. I also like to check in a couple times throughout the year so I can change, adapt, or adjust anything that might need recalibrating. Now, I consider this all setting intention. I know resolution and intention might sound like they're the same thing, but they're not. A resolution is hard and fast. It's I must do this. So when you fail, you can feel like a failure. An intention is what you want to do, but it's not a hard and fast rule, so it leaves room for iteration and adaptation. Think of what I said about women writers and YouTube. There's no failing with an intention. It's more a guidepost leading the way for you. So by setting intentions, you're working toward a goal, but you're not making it a succeed or fail kind of commitment. I hope that makes sense. Like resolutions are always like, you must do this. Intentions are working hard towards something, but letting flow happen. So the third thing we can do is to look back over the past year and make a gratitude list, writing down everything we're thankful for. I'm grateful to be living in such a magical place in the country, in New Mexico. I'm grateful for an apartment that I love that has a view of the mountains. I'm grateful for the friends I've made and for the ones I've stayed in touch with since I've left New York City. I'm grateful for being able to pursue my dreams, which are writing and publishing, and for being able to hang out with puppies every week at my volunteer job. I'm so grateful for that. Really, I highly recommend volunteer at a shelter and just sit in a pen with puppies every week. That's pure love. So just thinking about all of that makes me feel better. Did you know that the simple act of being grateful helps improve our mood and our sleep? It can reduce stress, anxiety, and depression, and it can even help lower blood pressure and build your immunity. I know that might sound crazy, but it can also help us become more resilient and provides better overall life satisfaction. Gratitude helps train your brain to focus on the positive aspects of life. So rather than making resolutions, let's sit in gratitude for all we have. And I will say this, when I started with gratitude lists, it hurt. I was brought up to look at the negative side of life. Everything was a threat. The world was coming to an end. Everything was anxiety. And I made a concerted effort. And it took a while, maybe a year or two. Now I automatically flip to the positive in something. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I have bad days, but if you've never done a gratitude list and you're just starting now, it can hurt your brain. And that's the only way I can explain it. It hurt my brain, but I forced myself, and it really does make you feel better. So if anything, just write a list of what you're grateful for. And if you sit there and you're like, I'm not grateful for anything, there is something. You're grateful you breathe. You're grateful you're not unhoused, that you're not addicted to drugs, that you're not. And if you are, you're grateful you're still alive. You're grateful there are things you can find. It was hard for me to find things to be grateful for, but like I was grateful I had fingernails, like that hadn't been ripped off. I was grateful someone smiled at me. Just I'm really thinking of like people who might be really down, and if it's too much, maybe rest and then try it again, because there is something to be grateful that you have clean air to breathe. I mean, there are things that you can find. So if you're heading into January without a single resolution, good for you. What's important And frankly, if you want to do resolutions, fine. Just don't beat yourself up because what's important ultimately is that you do you. That to me is the only thing that matters. So I hope you'll join me again on A Writer's Life. This is a place where I talk about creativity, writing, and personal transformation in a way that honors our life and our experiences. So until next time, have a transformational new year and be well. Thank you.